When working in a document that contains multiple artboards, there are features you can take advantage of when printing and saving to other file formats. Let's take a look at some of those features. I'm beginning this video with the artboards_02.ai file already open on my computer. And you can see that this document has multiple artboards in the document. And I'd like to show you some of the features that we can take advantage of when working with a document that has multiple artboards. So the first thing I'd like to show you is that when we print our document by going to File and choosing Print, you're going to notice that we have the typical print dialog box that you're used to seeing in other Adobe applications. But the area that I wanted you to focus on is right here. Because when we have multiple artboards, the artboards section is enabled and we can selectively choose which artboard we want to print. So you can see here that the range is set to artboard 1. And if I look at my preview down here, we can see that it is in fact using the first artboard, or the blue pluralist logo. Now if I change the range to artboard 2, you're going to see that it's now showing me the red pluralist logo. So I can selectively print these artboards as needed. Now, the other thing is that if I choose to ignore the artboards, it is now going to look at the entire document as one big piece and allow me to output it, provided I have enough room on my paper. Now, last but not least, if I turn this back off and choose All, you're going to notice that down here below the preview area, I can use the arrow keys to toggle and still see all the artboards that are going to be printed in this document. So that's one way that we can take advantage of those multiple artboards. Now, I'm going to go ahead and click the Cancel button. And so what about when we're saving our document? Well, a pretty common situation is that when I'm creating multiple iterations of a logo like this, I may want to send a PDF file to a client. Now, if I had created these as separate files, it would create a lot more work for me to combine all of those various files into one nice PDF to send to the client. But because I created this document using multiple artboards, I could simply go to the File menu and choose Save As. And in the Format drop-down menu, we can click on this drop-down menu and choose from a number of different formats, one of which is the PDF format. So if I choose that option, you're going to notice that when I make this PDF, I can choose to include all of the artboards, or I can selectively define which particular artboard I want to use to output this PDF. So for example, if I leave the range set to just 1, and I go ahead and I'll just put this in a folder on its own. I'll just go ahead and put this on my desktop. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And you can define the PDF preset that you want to use. So maybe you want to choose something like smallest file size for sending it to the client. Go ahead and choose Save PDF. And we do have a transparency blend space conflict because this preset converts the colors to RGB. And I'm working in a CMYK document. So I'm not too concerned about that for this purpose. We'll go ahead and click OK. And we'll go ahead and click OK again. And when that is saved, if I navigate to my Finder, I could go ahead and double click on that PDF, and that's going to open up that PDF file, and we can see that we only have one page to look at here. So I'm going to close that. And if I go back here and do a Save As again, we'll just go ahead and this time we're going to save it to the desktop again. And this time I'm going to make sure that when I save this, that I simply output all of the artboards. And now when I save that, I'll go ahead and replace that older version and just pass through these dialogues here. When I switch over to the Finder again, and I open this PDF, we can now see that we have 2 pages in the PDF file that the client can navigate through, make comments on, and send back to me if necessary. Now, last but not least, if I return to Illustrator, you also have a number of different formats found under the Export command. So if I go to File and choose Export, you can go ahead and define other formats. Most of these are raster-based formats, but some of them are still vector-based formats. And you can choose, if you wanted to output to like JPEG or to other formats for different purposes. And all of these, for example, if I choose Photoshop, will also honor the artboards as well. So if I needed a Photoshop file or a JPEG for some purpose of only one of the logos, I could choose the format, choose to use the artboards, and tell it to only output a certain artboard. Now I'll go ahead and hit the cancel button. And as you can see, there are many ways that multiple artboards can be used. The possibilities are really endless, and it alleviates the need to create multiple versions of a document because you can simply create a new artboard for each version of your artwork. Now, one additional way that I'd like to show you how multiple artboards can be advantageous is when integrating with other Adobe applications such as Adobe InDesign. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up InDesign on my computer. And in InDesign, I'm going to place that Illustrator file. So I'm just going to go to the File menu and choose Place. And I'm going to navigate to the Chapter 2 folder. And I'm going to select that same file that I have open in Illustrator, the artboards_02. Now, before I click Open, I'm going to make sure that I choose Show Import Options. And when I click the Open button, it's going to bring up the Place PDF dialog box, and it's going to show me the name of the file that I'm placing. And the area that I really want you to focus on is over here in the preview and at the bottom of the preview section. Because you'll notice that I have navigation tools where I can navigate to the other artboards in that Illustrator document. And this is a really great feature because I can now take advantage of all the artboards in that Illustrator file. So using these left and right arrows, or even the go to first artboard and go to last artboard buttons, I can navigate to the different artboards on my computer. So I want to place the red logo here, and so I'll choose Artboard 2. And this is just a feature of InDesign where it says Crop to. I'm going to go ahead and just choose the bounding box for all layers, and then I'll go ahead and click OK. And that is going to bring up my loaded cursor. I'm just going to click, and we can now see that I have this logo placed inside of InDesign. Now to just make this look a little bit better in InDesign, I'll change the display performance to high quality. And now you can see that I'm only taking advantage of that one artboard, the one that I want to use. So as you can see, there are many ways that multiple artboards can be used. The possibilities are endless, and it alleviates the need to create multiple versions of a document, because you can simply create a new artboard for each version of your project.